Amane's days settled into a routine. He spent the day out hunting and his evenings at Saren. The crowd now welcomed him as one of the regulars. Often he sat at the bar talking with Rico, but occasionally he'd be at a table with Tepe, the dude with big hands. He was a farmer. Koki, Hiroshi, and Koichi, who worked for him, tended to sit with them too. Shun was in charge of waitstaff, but always brought their ale personally. Lucky for him, Saren was the perfect place to collect gossip. He was starting to learn about the more colorful characters in Nijitani. The giant Atashi and Tatsuya ran the bakery. Ryota and Ayame had a barbershop boutique. His host Toma was a teacher and astrologer, and his best friend Shu was the blacksmith. So, when he showed up at his usual time, he was surprised to see Saren empty. He stepped back outside and noticed the street was actually a little busy for this late. Fortunately, he saw Koki hurrying by.
"Yo, Koki!"
Koki stopped.
"Hey, Omine. Where is everyone?"
Koki tilted his head in confusion.
"It's Saturday."
Imane raised his eyebrows questioningly.
"So? Everyone's at the game." "What game?"
Koki grinned. "Come on, you'll see. I'm already late and don't want to miss any more." Amine easily kept up with the shorter man. Who in the world could have the entire town gathered together? They came to a large barn in the center of town. Amine had passed it several times, but just thought it was for storage, since no one seemed to come or go from it. Outside had been quiet, but once they entered, the sound was amazing. People were cheering enthusiastically for the men on the court. He followed Koki almost blindly as they made their way to an empty seat on a raised bench. Amine couldn't take his eyes off the action. No one had to tell him what was going on. Basketball. Amine recognized most of the players. The bastard Taiga and another redhead he didn't know faced off against Ryota, Shintaro, and Atashi. The play was amazing. He'd never seen anything like it. Atashi was like a massive wall into the net. Shintaro seemed to make shots from anywhere. Ryota was crazy fast, but Taiga was right with him the whole way. Amine had to cheer for Ryota's team. He didn't really appreciate the squealing blonde, since the bastard Taiga was on the other team. It did seem a little unfair to have 3 such amazing players against 2, but the way the smaller redhead made the ball move was insane. The damn thing turned corners and always found its way to Taiga at the net. As he watched the ball fly around the court, all he wanted was to be down there. His fingers itched to wrap around the ball. The fuckers at Toe should see this. They constantly belittled his love of a child's game. No child ever played like that. The play was intense and over way too soon for Yamane. Somehow the Reds managed to pull it out, winning by a single basket. Koki cheered, turning to Yamane. "Wasn't Tetsuya amazing?"
"Is Tetsuya the shorter redhead?"
"No," Koki said, horrified. "That's Seijiro-sama." Yamane didn't understand why Koki blushed saying that. Tetsuya was the one doing the passing between Taiga and Seijiro-sama. Yamane looked back on the court, but the players had already left.
"I didn't see anyone else on the court."
"That's okay," Koki said. "I've known Tetsuya so long, sometimes I forget not everyone can see him like we do."
"Is the guy invisible?"
Amane asked as they left the arena. Koki laughed. "When he wants to be."
"Point him out to me, so—"
Amane was cut off by a mud bolt in the face.
"Hito!"
Koki yelled. Amane barely saw through the mud. A blonde-haired kid ran down the street. He spit mud and wiped furiously at his face.
"Son of a bitch! What the hell's wrong with the kids in this town?"
It wasn't the first time he'd had a run-in with a child. Usually they just exchanged nasty faces. This was the first one to attack him. "I'm sorry, Omine," Koki apologized. "They're a bit mad at you right now."
"The hell did I do?"
"Stupid kids. He hadn't liked him when he was one, and he certainly didn't see his opinion changing now." Koki scratched the back of his head and looked around for help. Luckily, Rico and Junpei chose that moment to show up. "Since you started hunting, we're keeping everyone close to town," Junpei said matter-of-factly. Rico nodded in agreement. "The kids are getting restless. They're used to having run of the valley." Omine was pissed, mostly at himself. It hurt that everyone was just waiting for him to leave. He'd been getting comfortable here, but this wasn't his home. He needed to get back to To. Who knew how long the king had left? When had he started fooling himself that he was wanted anywhere? People only wondered what they could get out of him.
"All I need is one fucking dragon, and I'm out of your hair,"
Amine said, stomping off toward Thomas. Starting tomorrow, he wasn't coming back to town. There were dragons out there, and he was going to find them.